Hello everyone and welcome to the live session of Extramarks. Students, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the ICSE sample semester paper 2. In this, we are going to discuss about the mock test that you have already been given. In this, we will talk about what is the various pattern that is there in the case of the mock test 2, that is the semester 2. We will try to discuss about that semester 2 is different in what sense than the semester 1. Clear? So a lot to discuss in today's class. Let's start with our discussion. So here you can see the general instruction for this paper that is going to be given, in which the time duration for the paper is very important, everyone. Here you can see the time duration for this paper is 1.5 hours, and the particular marks that are going to be given for this question paper is going to be 40. Let me clear you about the past paper and the current paper scenario difference. See, in the earlier papers, that is a semester 2 paper, there used to be the questions being given, in which the first question basically consists of the objective type question. Now this particular part is very important because the objective questions holds around 10 questions and all the questions are compulsory. You have to attempt all the question, no matter it's wrong or right, you know or not, but you have to attempt all the question. Then the next 5 questions are going to be given. So because in total 6 questions are there, the first one is the objective, and then you will going to have the next 5 question. So out of this 5 question, earlier you used to attempt only 3 question. Clear? And what used to happen, each question used to have 2 parts. It used to have 2 parts, the A part and the B part, where the A part have 5 questions and the B part have 5 questions. So how many questions in total? There would be 10 questions, and each question will be a 1 marks question. So you have to just give one word or one sentence in average. So this was the last pattern. Now the pattern have been changed. Alright, so what is the change that is there in current scenario? In current scenario, you are going to have again, the first question will be the complete objective. So you have to attempt all the question. The remaining 5 questions that you will be given, in which you again only have to attempt the 3 questions. Each question will going to have 4 questions. Means second, third, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions are there. The first one will be the complete objective. Clear? And the remaining 5 questions will be the subjective. Out of this 5 also, you have to attempt only 3. It's your choice completely. You can attempt the second one, you can attempt the 6th one, you can attempt the 4th one. It's completely your choice. So you have to attempt only the 3 question, in which if I take a question number second, this question number second will going to have 4 questions. It will going to have 4 questions. The first 2 questions will be of 2 marks each, while the remaining 2 questions will be going to be of 3 marks each. So how many in total? 4, 6, it will be a 10 marks. Understood? So the first objective will have 10 objective questions, and the remaining 3, if each question will have 10 marks, because of this calculation, then how much it will become? It will become 40 marks in total. So I hope this point is clear. Clear? So this will be the basic pattern of the question of this particular semester. And remember, this is the second semester. It will have the subjective, and along with that it will have the objective. Like in the case of the objective questions, the previous semester you only have the objective ones, but this time you will going to have the subjective as well as objective both. Clear? So this is a basic about this year's pattern. Clear? Then some general information with regards to the general instructions. So here you can see, everyone, the question paper is going to be provided you 10 minutes before, and it is very important to read the question paper. See, you all know what is there in the question paper. you know what to write, but sometimes what happens, the minor details which are there in the question that plays an important role. Sometimes the hormone which is being asked, you people basically write the gland which secretes that hormone, and it is just because the question paper is not being read properly. So ample amount of time is been given, almost 10 minutes earlier is been given to you. Just read the paper now. Try to understand what is been given in the paper. Be calm, be patient, and try to read the things as much as you can in the particular time slot. Along with that, the time is been given is sufficient. It's almost 1.30 minutes or hours. Means 1 hour 30 minutes you have been given, 90 minutes are there. So you can give the paper in the perfect time. For that you need to revise the question paper again and again in the given time slot. Then this part I have discussed already. The question paper is being divided into two sections, section A and section B. This section A and section B I have just discussed. Let me discuss it one more time for you all. Section A consists of that what? It consists of objective type question. There will be 10 questions. You have to attempt all. That's a compulsory thing. If we talk about the section B part, again I just have said 5 questions are going to be given, 10 marks, but you need not to attempt all the question. Only 3 questions need to be attempt from the particular 5 questions. So it's out of your choice which one you want to attempt. And each question I have given the scenario, how much amount of marks will be allotted in that, and what is the number of questions are going to be given in that, we have discussed already. Then in each and every question you will find the bracket. This bracket will going to resemble the number of marks which are being allotted for the specific question. So everyone, these are the general instructions which are with regards to the paper, and I hope these things are clear to all of you. Clear? So if any doubt still you have with regards to the general instruction, you can ask me. But the most important part again is the reading of paper, because no matter what paper you give, how much time period paper you give, reading of the paper is very important. Clear? Now let's move to the paper, that what kind of paper is going to come. So definitely this paper is going to have the objective as well as the subjective part. Let's go with the objective part one, that is the section A. And the very important thing that is written over here, what? Attempt all questions. Don't leave a single question here. Clear? So you have to attempt all the questions. Let's start with our objective questions one by one. Start everyone. So the first question here, it is saying which one of the following is responsible for the phagocytosis of the bacteria. Now phagocytosis is basically a term which involves the engulfing of the foreign element. Clear? It is basically done by the single cellular organism, like the bacteria do it, the amoeba do it. Clear? So phagocytosis is basically done by these organisms. The amoeba, the human cells like the WBCs, they are also responsible in doing the phagocytosis. Clear? Now let's see the options. What are the options are saying? So here we have the 4 options everyone. Just focus here completely now. Basophils, the first option. Then RBC is the second option, platelets is the third option, and neutrophil is the fourth option. Now what we have to see one by one that which one is right for the particular question. So basophil and neutrophil, everyone over here, they both are WBCs. They are WBCs or white blood cells, and they are responsible for providing the defensive mechanism in our body. Clear? And if we talk about the other two, that is the RBCs and platelets, they are also the formed elements only. Just like WBCs, they are also the part of formed elements, where RBC is completely a wrong option, because RBC have nothing to do with the engulfing of the bacteria or the phagocytosis. Its sole purpose is just to carry oxygen. It carries the oxygen for the cellular respiration process. Clear? So RBC we will not take. So one option is eliminated. Then talk about the second, this C option, platelets. Platelets is also we will eliminate platelets too, because platelets are not a complete cell, they are just cell fragments. And these platelets, also called as thrombocytes, they are associated with the clotting. Whenever we get injury, our blood gets clot. So platelets along with RBC and the clotting factors like the fibrinogen, they are involved in the clotting of the blood, and they are basically done with the help of the platelets. So again, platelets is the wrong option. If we talk about the basophils and the neutrophils, yes, these two are confusing, where basophils and neutrophils being WBC, basophil we will eliminate because basophil do not show the phagocytic activity, while if we talk about the neutrophil and one more WBC is there, that is the monocyte, they are responsible in the phagocytosis. Like here you can see in the case of this diagram as well, like here you can see everyone, this is the neutrophil, here the entrapment is happening, the bacteria is basically taken inside. Now these bacteria, when it is going to go inside the neutrophil, it will form a bubble which is called as a phagosome. This phagosome will now going to get subjected for the hydrolysis or breakdown with the help of the enzymes which are present in the neutrophil. And here you can see the breakdown is happening, which is also called as degradation. And finally the remnants, the waste or the excretory parts, they are going to be released outside the cell by the process of exocytosis. Clear? So here you can see neutrophils are the cells which consist of around 62% of the total WBC number and are extremely efficient phagocytes. If the phagocytes, this neutrophils number increases in the blood, it shows some kind of infection is there in the blood. So they ingest and subsequently kill invading microbes, and they also removes the bacterial and fungal pathogens through the process called as phagocytosis. So I hope this point is clear to all of you that neutrophils are responsible for the phagocytosis. Clear? Now let's move on to the next question. The part of the brain that performs the main function in maintaining the balance of the body. Like you all can see, I am standing in front of you. I know where to move and where to not. So somewhere there is a part of my brain that is helping me to coordinate this momentum. I cannot fall in the front, neither in the back, neither in the right side or the left side. So what is helping me? Let's see the options, everyone. So here you can see the first option is cerebrum. Second option is cerebellum. Third option is medulla oblongata. And the fourth option is pons viralis. Clear? Or pons, simple pons. So if we see the options one by one, cerebrum is very important. It's very important in all the functioning of the brain, the mental ability, the thinking, the reasoning skills, the intellectual skills, whatever you do in your life, even the things which I am saying right now, they are well coordinated with the help of the cerebrum only. But cerebrum is not responsible in the maintaining of the movement or locomotion. Cerebrum is not responsible, whereas cerebellum is the right answer. It is present behind our brain, and under the influence and proper command given by the cerebrum only, the cerebellum can do all the acts. So cerebrum is not completely wrong, because under the command of cerebrum only, the cerebellum can perform the action. Clear? While the medulla oblongata and pons, they are the wrong option. Medulla and pons, they are somewhere responsible in the maintaining of the autonomic nervous system. The things which are not in our control, like breathing, respiration, they all are controlled by medulla, where pons, basically it's a brain stem, so it connects the nerves with the brain and the spinal cord. So these two options are wrong, where the right option for, in this case, in this particular question, is cerebellum, which regulates the entire momentum of the body. So here you can see, everyone, the cerebellum is located at the back of the brain. Location is very important, and it helps with the coordination and momentum related with the motor skills. You know how we are walking, we are running, we are even swimming, they all are being regulated by the cerebellum. So mainly involving the functioning of the hands and the feet, how we perform, because even the standing is done with the help of feet, and even with the help of hands we do the coordination. So it helps in maintaining the posture, the balance, and the complete equilibria. Clear? So here you can see this is the brain, everyone, and this is the cerebellum. Here you will find the pons, here you will find the medulla oblongata, and this part, big part over here is the cerebrum. So this part over here, it is the cerebellum. Clear? So I hope this point is again clear to all of you. Clear? Pons basically is the structure which is present connecting the cerebellum, the cerebrum, the entire brain with the spinal cord. So it's basically a part of the brain stem. Clear? Okay, let's move on. Now, which one of the following is an eye condition that makes eye lens cloudy and result in the decrease in the vision? So what happens in this case? The eye lens, it becomes cloudy, or we can say it becomes opaque. I know you all know the answer and you are also eager to give the answer. Let's see the options, everyone. The options here are cataract, astigmatism, presbyopia, hypermetropia. So yes, you all are right. The right answer for this question is a cataract. See, cataract is basically a disease in which the lens, it becomes opaque or cloudy like appearance. So because of that, the person's vision is compromised. Even the person can get completely blind. Well, now what is the cure of it? The surgery can cure the cataract, and even by the use of the convex lenses, we can cure this disease to a certain extent, but at the end, surgery is the utmost cure. If we talk about the other option, that the astigmatism, presbyopia, hypermetropia, they all are wrong, because in all these three options, the lens do not become opaque or it do not become white. Now what happens in other cases as well? Let's study them also. In the case of the astigmatism, because of the curvature of the cornea that we have in our eye, it is not proper. So in that case, the person cannot focus. Means some part of the image that he focus appears to him blur and some part appears to him sharp. Now it can be corrected by the use of the cylindrical lenses. So astigmatism we know now, but it is the wrong answer. Where in the case of the presbyopia and hypermetropia, they are somewhat similar. The only difference in both the cases is that presbyopia is observed in the case of the old people, while hypermetropia can be observed in the young as well. In both the cases, the person is not able to see the nearby object, that is up to the 25 centimeter. So for that, these can also be corrected by the use of the convex lenses. So let's move to the first point, that is the cataract. So cataract occurs when the lens of our eyes, they become cloudy, and it happens why? It happens because of the clumping of the proteins which are present in the lenses. So protein clumping altogether in the lens is the cause, is the reason for the cataract. Clear? Okay. Let's move on to the next question, everyone. Which one of the following is not the function of the sympathetic nervous system? Now, sympathetic nervous system, we know that it is a part of the system in which the body prepares itself for the fight and flight mechanism, and it basically gets regulated under the secretion of the hormone, that is the adrenaline. So let's see the options what it has been given. So the options which are saying that dilation of the pupil, decrease in the heart rate, urinary bladder relaxing, none of this. See, you all have read already about the sympathetic and parasympathetic. But instead of going into the technical things or the rectification, imagine if you are in the fight or flight mechanism, what will happen? What will be the first thing that happens? If you see a dog in front of you, what will happen? Will your heart rate going to decrease or increase? Simple. It will going to increase. So yes, this option B is the correct option. And the question is asking which one of the following is not the function of the sympathetic nervous system. So decrease of the heartbeat will definitely not going to happen. Increase of the heartbeat will definitely going to happen. While the other option which says the dilation of the pupil, yes, it happens because if you are in the fight or flight mechanism, if you have to fight someone, The dilation of the pupil is important so that you can see the things clearly. While urinary bladder relaxes, yes, it also happens. So here you can see everyone, the sympathetic nervous system activates the fight or flight mechanism, and it happens during the threat process, threat of any kind, and in this case some major changes happens in our body which are the part of the sympathetic nervous systems. The changes like motility of the large intestine decreases, means the peristalsis, the food which is going in the large intestine, it stops. The peristalsis stops at that point. Constriction of the blood vessels so that the blood can flow faster. Cause of pupillary dilation so that we can see the things more accurately, more sharply. So these are some of the things that happens during the time of sympathetic nervous systems when it get activated during the threat situation. So the which thing that is not happening in this time? It is the decrease in the heart rate. What will be the reverse of it? It will be the increase in the heart rate that will happen. Clear everyone? Alright, let's move on. The dash breaks into many capillaries that forms the glomerules. So this question is having a glomerules, means it's a part of the excretory system. Alright, and it is saying dash breaks into many capillaries that forms the glomerules. Glomerules, we all know, is a part of the nephron. In the nephron we have the Bowman's capsule, and within the Bowman's capsule we have the capillaries. These capillaries are basically called as glomerules. Now the question is asking what breaks into many capillaries of the glomerules. So everyone, here are the options in front of you. Secondary capillary network, efferent arteriole, renal vein, efferent arteriole. So we all know that if this is the Bowman's capsule and this is the renal tubule RT, so here one of the tubule is going inside and then forming the cluster, and then it is coming outside. I have made some difference here. You can see this one is thicker, this one is smaller. So this one over here, it is the efferent. It is the efferent arteriole, while this one is the efferent arteriole. So everyone, which one is going inside? The efferent one is going inside, and then it is breaking into the many capillaries. So you need to remember one very basic thing. These are the arterioles, alright, and they are then breaking into the capillaries, and then they are coming out in the form of again arterioles only, but they will be the efferent. So A and E, that is the difference. So efferent basically breaks into many capillaries. So option D, efferent arteriole, is the right answer. Clear? So here you can see each nephron, it has glomerules. We know it very well. Nephrons are the structural and functional unit of kidney which are responsible in the filtration mechanism. Now the glomerules filter the blood and a tubule. Glomerules consist of tuft of anastomosing capillaries. Anastomosing means they are coiled. Clear? Formed by the branching of efferent arterioles. So here you can see the efferents are going inside and then efferent is coming outside, and they are forming the tuft like structure that are called as glomerules. Clear everyone? So I hope this point is clear to all of you. Let's move on to the next point. Clear? Okay. Which of the following is left in the glomerules after ultrafiltration? Again the question from the excretory system. We have just discussed about the efferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, and also about the glomerules we have just discussed. Now the question is asking which of the following is left in the glomerules after the ultrafiltration. So you know ultrafiltration, what is it? It is the filtering of the substances. So a lot of things basically get filtered. Let's see the options first. Sodium chloride, corpuscles, urea, and the glucose. See everyone, let me tell you one very basic thing. Our blood consists of two very important parts. The first part over here is called as plasma, and the second part over here is called as formed elements. The plasma consists of various kinds of salts like sodium chloride, then glucose is there, then antibodies are there, then water is there, while the corpuscles majorly consist of RBCs, WBCs, platelets and all. So whenever the filtration actually happens, all these things like salts, urea, glucose, whatever is there in the blood, it basically gets filtered during the ultrafiltration because of the hydrostatic pressure. And the only things that do not get filtered is basically your RBCs and the larger proteins. So if we see the question and if we see the option, which one would be the option? Tell me everyone, which one would be the option that is not going to get filtered out during the ultrafiltration? Yes, the right option will be your B corpuscles. The corpuscles and the large protein will not going to get filtered out during the ultrafiltration. So here you can see corpuscles. During the ultrafiltration, the high pressure force, see the blood is basically under high pressure because it need to get filtered. Small molecules like the water, the glucose, the amino acid, the sodium, chloride, urea, they all get filtered. They all get filtered from the blood, and the things which do not get filters are basically the larger molecules, that are the proteins and the corpuscles. They do not get filtered and they stay in the blood vessels itself. Clear everyone? So what do not get filtered out? They are the corpuscles. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Alright, let's move on everyone. How many numbers of cranial nerves are present in the humans? See, we all know that we have two types of nerves basically, the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. So here you can see the options are been given, 8 pairs, 31 pairs, 32 pairs and 12 pairs. So option A and C are wrong, and again out of these two also one is wrong, but in the case of this question which is saying cranial nerves, so option D is basically right, while the option B is wrong, although but it is right in the case of the spinal nerves. So spinal nerves we are having 31, but in the case of the cranial nerves we have 12. So option D, which is 12 pair, it is the right option. Like here you can see in higher vertebrates like reptiles, birds and mammals, we all are higher vertebrates. Fishes and amphibians are not compared in this. So they are all are basically having 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Now what are these cranial nerves? These cranial nerves are basically nerves only that basically regulates the various facial features like olfactory nerve, which basically helps in the sensation, nose and all. Then optic nerve, oculomotor, then there is a trigeminal. All these types of nerves are the parts of the cranial nerve. So how many total nerves we have? We have 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Clear? I hope this point is clear. Okay, let's move on. Now, which hormone is responsible for preparing the body for emergency condition? We have discussed this question earlier as well. Emergency condition means for the fight and flight mechanism. So in this case, the hormone which is responsible, let's see the options: insulin, adrenaline, glucagon and thyroxine. So the right answer for this question is option B, adrenaline. See, adrenaline is the hormone which is released by the adrenal cortex, and it basically increases the person's capacity to fight or flight. And this hormone also regulates the sympathetic nervous system. A lot of changes happens in the body because of the hormone adrenaline, like the dilation of the pupil, the constriction of the blood vessels, a lot of things happens. While the other hormones like insulin, glucagon and thyroxine, they are somewhere involved in maintaining the glucose metabolism. Like thyroxine is involved in maintaining the basal metabolism, while insulin and glucagon, they basically help in the glucose homeostasis. Insulin is released in the body during the hyperglycemia, while the glucagon is released in the body during the hypoglycemia. So the only hormone responsible for maintaining the or for preparing the body during the emergency condition is your adrenaline hormone. So let's see about it. So adrenaline, the hormone is released by the adrenal gland, and here you can see the location as well everyone. This is the kidney, and these are the vertebrae, and over the kidney you can see this crown like structure. This is basically the adrenal gland. This adrenal gland is basically divided into two parts, the adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. So here from the adrenal medulla, the adrenaline hormone is going to be released outside, which basically prepares the body for the fight and flight mechanism. So adrenal medulla is responsible for the release of adrenaline. Clear? Okay, let's move on. Which of the following is an acquired reflex? Acquired reflex is the kind of a reflex which we basically get after the birth. Alright, like some reflexes are there that we are born with. Like if we have to shut our eyes when some objects comes at a faster speed, during the sand or some wind comes in our eyes, then we close our eyes. So it's a reflex we are born with. Or we have to sneeze, that's a reflex we are born with. The way we eat or we engulf the things, it is again the reflex that we are born with. But some reflexes are there which we are not born with, and we basically acquire it from the environment. So let's see the options and then try to solve the question. So the options are saying applying brakes of car, then sneezing, blinking of the eyes, and withdrawal of the hand from the hot object. So if you see all the four options, which of the option you can think is more practical or related to the technology, and which ones are related with the nature? So definitely the applying of brakes of the car, how can we born with it? No, we are not born with this reflex. So yes, option A, it is the acquired reflex. We basically acquire it after the birth. While sneezing, blinking of eye, and even the withdrawal of our hand from the hot object, we already are born with it. So the right answer for this question is applying brakes of a car. So here you can see these acquired reflex developed during the lifetime due to the experience or learning. Like for example, applying brake of the car. Like I know the car, I have learnt the car. Then only I know when to apply brake and when to not. I am not born with it. So because of that, I can say that it's a acquired reflex. Clear? And also you can see one more example like salivation. We produce saliva in our mouth whenever we see a food of interest or something that we like to eat. Now you will ask, sir, every time we develop saliva? No. If something you like to eat or something is very delicious, then only you will basically have the salivation. If something like, if some other country recipe is there in front of you that you don't even know what is it, then you will not do the saliva, or then you will not do the salivation. Clear? So something you like, something you can imagine, or something you can smell good, those things you will undergo the salivation. Alright? Okay, let's move on. Which of the following part is present in the innermost part of the eye? Alright everyone. So here we have the options. The A option is vitreous humor. Then we have the aqueous humor, conjunctiva, and lens. See, the innermost part of the eye is basically have the vitreous chamber, and within the vitreous chamber we have the vitreous humor. Alright, so vitreous humor A is the right option. So here you can see option A, vitreous humor. It is the transparent colorless gel-like substance which is located posterior chamber of the eye, inside the posterior chamber of the eye, and it have a huge role. What? It basically maintains the shape of the eye. We have a round eye, so it maintains the shape. It acts as a shock absorber, and also it protects the retina because it is present deep inside the eye. So yes, vitreous humor is the innermost chamber of the eye. Now everyone, let's move on to the section B of our questions. Clear? We have just discussed the objective questions which were 10 in number. Now we have to discuss 3 questions only, although I will discuss all the 5 questions, but you have to attempt only 3 of your own choices. So here it is written also, attempt any 3 questions from these sections. So let's move on to these questions now. So the first question, it has been given, give the name of the hormone that regulates the basal metabolism in the human body. Name any 2 diseases caused by the under secretion of this hormone. So the first question is asking the name of the hormone that regulates basal metabolism. To maintain the basal metabolism of the body, we have the hormone called as thyroxine. Clear? Thyroxine hormone is basically released by the gland called as thyroid gland. Clear? And name two diseases which are caused by the under secretion of this hormone. So yes, there is goiter and there is cretinism which happens due to the under secretion of this hormone. So here you can see this is the larynx, everyone. Alright, and above the larynx you can find the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is in the front, in the behind you can find the parathyroid hormone which basically regulates the calcium levels. So thyroxine is the hormone that regulates the basal metabolism in the body. And I have just said simple goiter, it can be occurring due to the less secretion of or hypersecretion of the thyroid hormone. And cretinism can also occur in the body, which is a defect related to the calcium levels. So whenever the cretinism happens, the calcium level in the body can become disbalanced and the bones can become brittle because of it. So yes, simple goiter and cretinism can occur due to the under secretion of thyroid hormone. Clear? Okay. Now, how are both sounds of heart produced during a cardiac cycle? So you all know what is a cardiac cycle. It's the beating of the heart. So the heart sounds which are produced are lub and dub. You all know what is a lub and dub. So let's decode it. What is the lub and dub? So here you can see this is the heart structure, everyone. And within the heart you can find two valves. These two valves you can find which are basically the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve. So whenever the blood is basically entering from the artery to the ventricles, and the ventricles when they are undergoing the ventricular systole, that is the contraction. So in that case these two valves they basically closes. They basically closes and there is a chordate tendini which helps in the completely blocking of these two valves. So when these valves get closed, they make the sound that is called as lub. That is called as lub. And where they are present? They are present between the arteria and the ventricle. So the first point which is saying lub sound, which is generated when AV valve or atrioventricular valve, which is present between the arteria and the ventricle closes at the start of ventricular systole, when the ventricles are about to get contract. That part or that time the lub sound is basically got produced. So I hope this lub point is clear. Now let's talk about the other sound, that is the dub sound as well. So now what will happen? The ventricles will receive the blood and these ventricles basically which are contracting, now they will release the blood above because the blood need to go to the various body parts. So in that case there will be a ventricular diastole. Clear? And in that case the pulmonary artery and the aorta, they are also going to have the valves within them that are the semilunar valves. So these valves, when they are going to release the blood from them and finally they will get closed, they are going to produce the sound of dub. So dub sound is generated by the closing of the semilunar valve at the start of the ventricular diastole. So when the ventricle starts what? Relaxing, and these two semilunar valves of pulmonary artery and the aorta, they basically get closed. In that case the dub sound is produced. So I hope now the things are pretty much clear with the context of the lub and the dub sound. Clear, everyone? Alright, let's move on. Milan is a boy. Milan cannot read books placed near 25 centimeter from his eyes. Name the eye defects from which he is suffering. Draw a ray diagram to illustrate this defect. So everyone, this is the case of a disease called hyperopia, which is also called as long-sightedness or far-sightedness. Here in this case what is happening? The person is not able to read the things which are placed at a distance of 25 centimeter. Now why is it so? Because the image which is going to form because of this near object is going to form above the retina. This is the retina and the image is going to form behind the retina. So because of that, what happens? The image which is going to form is it is blur image. It is the blur image. So this defect can be resolved by the use of convex lens, and we can clear the image of the concerned person. So the disease associated with it is the hyperopia or hypermetropia or farsightedness. Clear? Now, given below is the diagram of the human heart. We have to label the various parts. So here you can see various parts are being labeled. So we have to name the parts. So let's see the first part, A part. So A part, as you can see, it is the vena cava. And which one of the vena cava it is? Yes everyone, which one vena cava it is? It is the superior vena cava. Clear? So this is the vena cava. The lower one is the inferior one, the upper one is the superior vena cava. Then the B part is going to be the aorta. Yes, it is going to be the aorta which is going to supply the blood to the entire body. The oxygenated blood is going to be supplied. And then we have the C part, which is the pulmonary artery. So here you can see everyone, the A part is the superior vena cava, which can also be called as anterior vena cava. Then B is the aorta and C is the pulmonary artery. If I can mention other parts as well, like A, B, C, D, this one is the right atrium, this one is the left atrium, this one going to be the ventricles, right and left, and lot of the parts are there. Clear? Okay, let's move on to the next question everyone. Which chamber of the heart has thickest walls and why? We know about the heart and we know about its structure. The question is asking which chambers are having the thickest walls. So here you can see everyone, the left ventricle has the thickest wall. Alright, the left ventricle have the thickest wall. Why is it so? There is a reason behind it, because it need to pump the blood to the whole body. We have seen the diagram of the heart and we have just seen that the blood comes from the pulmonary vein into the left atrium. From left atrium it goes into the left ventricle, and left ventricle is the region, is the point through which the blood is going to go through the aorta, and from the aorta to various arteries, then to arterioles, and then to the capillaries, to the entire body. So this left ventricle is not just a small thing. It have a big responsibility of pumping the blood to the entire body part. So now you people have understood why it have lots of muscle, or it is the most muscular or having the thickest wall. Because if you have to lift the weight, if you have to lift the heavy weight, your muscles need to be bigger, yes or not? So this is the reason, because it need to supply the blood to the entire body. It have the thickest walls than the other chambers of the heart. Clear? Alright. Now give two basic functions of the lymph. So we all know that just like the other parts of the circulatory system, like the blood which have the plasma and the formed elements, lymph is also present in our, it's a part of our circulatory system. It's basically have lots of functions. Now what are they? See everyone, lymph plays an important role in the immune response. See, lymph is nothing but, it is the tissue fluid or interstitial fluid which needs to be carried back to the veins, because sometime what happens, whenever the blood pass through the capillaries, some of the fluid oozes and stays within the body tissue. So that blood or that part of the fluid, not blood exactly, but the part of the plasma that oozes out and then stays in the cell, it also needs to go back to the veins. So lymph is basically that only. The only difference between the plasma and the lymph is that plasma have the larger proteins while the lymph do not have the larger proteins. And the fluid, which is the tissue fluid, it needs to travel back to the body. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be accumulation is going to happen, and sometimes the diseases like elephantiasis can happen. So the major function of this lymph is basically what? To provide the immune system, to provide the defense. It's a part of the immune system, and also it helps in maintaining the balance of fluid between the blood and the tissue by removing excess fluid from the body tissues. As I have just said, the blood, when it goes through the capillaries, some of the plasma oozes into the body tissues. So the capillaries which are present near the tissue of the body other than the capillaries, they help in the removal of the excess fluid so that the body should not have enough amount of lymph accumulation. And also we have the lymph nodes, we have the lymph glands. They are associated in providing the immune responses. All right. So these are the two major functions, and also they help in the absorbing of fats like lacteals which are present in the small intestine. They help in the absorption of the fats. Clear? Okay. Now draw the neat diagram of nephron and label its important parts. So everyone, this is the diagram of the nephron, and in this case you can see the upper part basically which is present in the cortex region of the kidney. It is the glomerulus. Then we have the afferent and the efferent arterioles, and then you can see the coiled structure. This coiled structure, which is also called as the renal tubule, have various parts, like we have the PCT or proximal convoluted tubules. Then we have a loop-like structure which is called as loop of Henle, and then we have the DCT or distal convoluted tubule. Now, what is the important thing you need to understand over here is that the afferent arteriole, which carries the capillaries or form the capillaries inside the glomerules, they are important in the filtration process. So whatever the filtration which is happening, it is happening in the glomerules only, and then except of the corpuscles, remaining parts like the urea, salts, water and other substances, they basically leaks into the renal tubules. Now these tubules, what they will do? They will undergo a process called as reabsorption. So initially what is happening? Ultrafiltration is happening, and where it is happening? It is happening in the glomerules, and after that there is going to be the reabsorption going to happen, and because of that the glomerular filtrate, which used to have lot of things like salts, it have urea, it have various kinds of other minerals. At the end of the day, means in the end, when the urea is going to formed, majorly the urea and some amount of water is going to left, remaining other things are going to get reabsorbed. Alright, and this is the reason such kind of tubulated structure we basically found in the case of the nephron. Clear? So this is the structure of the nephron. Let's discuss this in more detail in the upcoming questions. Okay, so this is about the nephron. Then explain the ultrafiltration and reabsorption, as I have said, we will discuss. So here you can see everyone, ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration is nothing but it is the filtering of the urea and other important things with the help of the capillaries which are present in the glomerules. See, we have 1 lakh nephrons, each in each kidneys. So almost 2 lakh nephrons we are having. And the capillaries which are there, which are 1 cell thick, they help in the filtration. They help in the filtration. So here you can see in the glomerules, initially what happens when the blood flows, we have a very high hydrostatic pressure. We have a very high hydrostatic pressure because the afferent arteriole is carrying the blood with the high pressure. So because of that, what happens? The minute pores of the glomerule capillaries, it filters out a lot of things. It filters out salt, it filters out glucose, it filters out sodium chloride and other minerals into the glomerular filtrate, and the only thing that do not get filters out is the corpuscles, the blood cells. So a liquid portion of blood plasma and some other inorganic substance such as urea, creatinine, some sugar molecules get entry into the renal tubule, while the blood cells, they do not get the entry into the renal tubule, and they again go back into the efferent arteriole. So this is about the ultrafiltration, means filtering of the urea. See, ultimate aim is to filter the urea. Now all these things, glucose, salts, creatinine, water, although they get filtered, but aren't they important to the body? Yes, they are very important to the body. Okay. Yes, the important diagrams that can come in the exam basically involves the diagram of eye, then this nephron can come, then the diagram of the heart. It is very important. Alright, So these few diagrams can come in the exam, and also if we talk about the basics of the heart vessels, that is the arteries, veins and capillaries, they can also be asked in the exam. Alright, so these are some of the diagrams that can be asked. Alright, okay. So ultrafiltration we have discussed, and here we have filtered out a lot of things except the blood. Now it's time for reabsorption. So in the reabsorption, what is happening? See, the glomerular filtrate is not urine. We know there are lots of other things as well. So we have to filter the urine only. So what will happen? It consists of some very important useful substances like glucose and some salt. So the filtrate is very dilute. So what is going to happen? We need to reabsorb the things. We need to reabsorb the things, and it will happen in the tubules like PCT, DCT and the loop of Henle. They will absorb the things, and in the end only the urea and some water is released outside, and this is basically also called as selective reabsorption. Clear? All right. Although some secretion also happens, but for you people it's reabsorption and ultrafiltration. Clear? Okay, let's move on. Now, composition of glomerular filtrate is not the same as urine. Justify the statement. We have just seen that glomerular filtrate have lots of things. It have urea, it have glucose, it have salts, it have small proteins. But if we talk about the urine, do urine also have these things? No. And if urine is also going to have these things like glucose, then it's a sign of a disease like diabetes insipidus. In that case, glucose leaks into the urine. So for the normal healthy person, we can say that yes, the urine composition and the glomerular filtrate composition is not the same. Here you can see everyone, the composition of glomerular filtrate is almost the same as the plasma, but the only difference is that large proteins and corpuscles are absent in the case of the glomerular filtrate. So substances like urea, uric acid, creatinine, amino acid, glucose, sodium chloride, potassium, vitamins, etc., they all are present in the glomerular filtrate. But these things should not go away. These things need to be reabsorbed. So after the reabsorption, rigorous reabsorption, only selective things goes out. And what are they? Urine. The urine and some amount of water only released out, and the remaining things like minerals, glucose, proteins, amino acid, everything is reabsorbed. Clear? So we can easily say yes, the composition of glomerular filtrate and the urine is not at all same. They are different because the step of reabsorption happens before the release of the urine. Clear? Alright, let's move on to the next question, everyone. What is the main function of ADH? ADH stands for antidiuretic hormone. This hormone is basically released from the pituitary gland, everyone. It is released from the pituitary gland, and this is a vasoconstrictor. It constricts the blood vessels, and it also helps in the reabsorption of water from the kidney renal tubules. So it increases the water absorption. Clear? So if the ADH functioning is been compromised, means it is not functioning properly. So in that case, what will happen? The water reabsorption by the renal tubules will get affected, and in that case, what will happen? The person is going to release more amount of water. The person is going to release more amount of water. The urine will become very dilute. So I hope this point is clear. So it's a antidiuretic hormone which plays an important role in the constriction of the blood. As I have just said, it's a vasoconstrictor, and with the rise in the blood pressure, it helps in increasing reabsorption of water by kidney tubules. Clear? So ADH we have done. Now it's time to discuss the other questions. Identify the components labeled. So here you can see, everyone, this is basically the chart which is showing you about the blood clotting. So here you can see the injured tissue is there, blood platelets is there. What is the first component that is going to be released? It is the thromboplastin. So thromboplastin is going to release. This thromboplastin will going to activate an enzyme called as thrombokinase. This thrombokinase, or it can also be called as prothrombinase, will help in the activation of prothrombin into thrombin here. So it helps in the activation of prothrombin into thrombin, and this thrombin will going to act as a catalyst in the conversion of the clotting factor, that is the fibrinogen C into the fibrin, and this fibrin will further go and combine with the RBC to form the clot. Let me repeat it again, everyone. Injured tissue and blood platelet disintegration will going to release an enzyme called as thrombokinase or prothrombinase. This prothrombinase is going to act as a catalyst in converting the prothrombin into thrombin, and this thrombin will going to act as a catalyst in the converting of the fibrinogen into the fibrin. So these are the three components which are present in place of A, B and C, and all this activity is going to happen with the help of the calcium and other proteins. I hope this point is clear. Okay. ADH is an antidiuretic hormone beta. It is released from the anterior pituitary of the body. Pituitary gland releases this hormone, and it acts as a vasoconstrictor, means it constricts the blood vessel. So because of that, what happens? The blood pressure increases. Sometimes when the blood pressure gets low, so we need to fasten the pressure. So for that, ADH comes into the role, and it also helps in the absorption of water. It also helps in the absorption of water from the renal tubules. We have just seen glomerules, then there are blood vessels. We have the glomerules, and then we have the renal tubules, which are coiled by the blood vessels of the efferent arteriole. So here the blood is basically what it having the water, it is going to get reabsorbed under the influence of ADH. Now this point is clear. I guess now this point is clear. What is ADH? Clear? Okay. So next question, everyone. Name the gland that is responsible for the secretion of growth hormone and the correct name of the disease. So everyone, here growth hormones. So hyposecretion of the growth hormone leads to the disease called as dwarfism, and growth hormone is the gland. See, the first question is asking, name the gland that is responsible for the secretion of GH. So which gland? Again, the master gland, that is the pituitary gland. And the hyposecretion of this gland can lead to what? It can lead to dwarfism. The persons become dwarf. The development is complete, the growth is complete, but the height do not increases. So it is due to the hyposecretion. And next, the hypersecretion. What is hypersecretion? Same, gigantism. The person grow in height more than the normal. Clear? Now, what are the meninges, everyone? Give any two names of the meninges. See, meninges are basically the covering of the brain. There are three meninges. We have the durameter, arachnoid and pyometer. Durameter is the uppermost thick one. Then arachnoid is a kind of a web-like structure, and pyometer is the one which is having the maximum blood supply. It is just close to the main brain. So these are the three structures which are helping in the protection of the brain, and inflammation of these meninges can lead to meningitis. All right. Okay. Now draw the flow chart of the reflex arc. So here you can see reflex arc is what? The kind of signaling which is being sent in our body whenever we are under the stimulus. So here you can see this is the stimulus. Stimulus provides the response to the receptor organ. Then the receptor organ will provide the signal to the receptor nerve. This receptor nerve or sensory nerve, which is basically there to sense the things, like for example our hand, it will send the signal to the spinal cord. Now spinal cord have two types of neurons. It have one major type of neuron, that is the relay neuron. Relay neuron basically communicate between the two neurons, that is the sensory and the motor, and this information is going to be sent to the motor nerve and finally then to the effector, so that the stimulus reaction can be given. So this is about the pathway for the reflex action. Clear? Okay. Now we have to label the diagram for the ear. So in the ear you all can see A and B part we have to mention. So everyone, the A and B part, what are they? So the A part here is the malleus and B part over here is the cochlea. So this one is the malleus and this rounded part is the cochlea. Then the question is saying which structure is located on the basilar membrane which contains hair cells that act as the auditory receptor. So what are these hair cells? They are basically present in the cochlea and they help in the sound production. So the name of this structure is basically the organ of Corti. Clear? And finally, which part of the ear helps in maintaining the balance? So what is it? It is the eustachian tube and the vestibular complex are the regions which help in maintaining the balance. Clear? All right. Now, name any two hormones secreted by pancreas which a gland releases TS. Very simple question, again an endocrine question. So here you can see two hormones secreted by the pancreas gland. So pancreas, you all know, it is a heterocrine gland and it have cells which are also called as islets of Langerhans. So two types of cells are found, the alpha cells and the beta cells. Alpha cells secretes glucagon where beta cells secrete insulin. So insulin and glucagon are secreted by the pancreas. Which gland releases TSH? TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone, and as the name itself is suggesting, it is released by the thyroid gland. Clear? Okay. Now, name the sense cells of eye that are responsible for the vision in the bright light. So yes, we all know that cone cells are responsible for the vision. So cone cells, they are responsible for maintaining the vision by helping of the bright light. Clear? And give the exact location of the following glands. The next question is there, everyone, 6th. So exact location, if you are asking, thyroid gland and pituitary gland. So here you can see thyroid gland. It is located in the front of neck below the larynx. So below the larynx, you will find the thyroid gland. Larynx is the voice box. This is the voice box, and just below it you will find the thyroid gland. Behind the thyroid you will find the parathyroid gland. Then pituitary gland, again it is located where? Within the brain. So base of the midbrain, below the hypothalamus, you will find the pituitary gland. Clear? Okay. Now complete the following table. So here you can see, this is the table, everyone. So here is the hormone, here is the disease, and here we have to tell what is the hyposecretion or undersecretion of the disease can be there. So thyroxine, goiter. So what is the answer? What is the answer going to be? Hypersecretion. Hyposecretion. So thyroxine is the hormone and goiter is occurring due to the hyposecretion of thyroxine. Clear? Then insulin. Insulin is there, and there is a hyposecretion of insulin is going to be there. So what disease is going to be take place? It's the diabetes. And hyposecretion is there of Addison disease. So Addison disease is a disease which is occurring due to the hyposecretion of what? It is occurring due to the hyposecretion of aldosterone. Aldosterone is the hormone which is released from the adrenal cortex. So here you can see, everyone, aldosterone, it is a mineralocorticoid, and because of its undersecretion, the body is unable to maintain the salt and ionic balance. Clear? So this is about the various hormones, and insulin lack lead to the diabetes mellitus. All right. So this is about, and here it is an example of gigantism and the dwarfism. Clear? Okay, let's move on. Now everyone, this is the important question and I want you all to pay the attention. Varun, AB blood group, had an accident due to the loss of blood. He need a blood transfusion. So a person named Varun, he basically have the AB blood group. I am also having AB blood group. So which type of blood group transfused to Varun? Also explain what will be happen to the body of the patient if the wrong type of blood is being transfused. So it's basically a blood group question, everyone. And here you need to understand that whenever a wrong blood type is being induced in the person's body, then clumping of blood can happen and it can also lead to the death of the person. Although in this case, Varun is basically quite blessed because Varun is having the blood group of AB. See, AB positive is basically a universal acceptor, because in the case of the Varun, the RBCs which Varun is carrying have all the three types of antigen. Antigens are basically the proteins which are present on the RBC surface. So because of that, Varun is having A, B and RH. In this case, Varun is not having any single antibody in the body. So Varun can receive blood from A, O, AB, B, almost every kind of blood group. The Varun can receive the blood unless the blood is not having any kind of viral infection. So here you can see AB blood group is the universal recipient or acceptor, and Varun can receive blood from A, B, AB or O type easily. So if a wrong or mismatched type of blood group is transfused to the someone, that person can die, as I have said, because of the clumping. And why it happens? Because if a person is having a blood antibody, like this Varun person is not having any antibody, but if someone is having B blood group or if someone is having A blood group, so in that case they are going to have A and B antibodies respectively. For the A blood group, they are going to have what? They are going to have B antibody. So that person is not going to or not supposed to have the B blood group within the body. So in that case, the antigen and antibody, they will fight and they will kill each other. And in that case, the person can even die. So this is the reason. This is the reason before transfusion of the blood, the checking of the blood is very important. Clear? So clumping happens, and because of this antigen and antibodies reaction, the person can even die. So it's always advised that before giving the blood, the checking of the blood group need to be done effectively. Clear everyone? So everyone, this is it. This is for the day. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Okay, let's take me one question. O positive and AB positive blood. No, O, AB, A and B. AB positive blood group can receive almost everyone's blood. It can receive the blood of A, B, AB and O, where the universal donor is your O negative, because it can only take blood from O negative, but can give the blood to almost everyone. Clear? So I hope everyone, this point is clear to all of you. You have enjoyed the session, and also a lot of questions that we have discussed in today's class will give you a clarity for the upcoming exams. So let's meet you all the next time with a different topic. Until then, bye bye everyone. Take care and keep learning.